Hello 8th graders, this is Shivani ma'am and today we will continue with the beautiful poem The Charge of the Light Brigade written by Lord Alfred Tennyson. Students, we were done with the explanation of 3 stanzas and we know that how the 600 soldiers rode on horseback for half a league into the valley of death. They were obeying the orders from their seniors to charge the enemy forces who were seizing their guns. So students, now we will continue with stanza 4, which goes like this. Flashed all their sabres bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabring the gunners there, charging an army, while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke, Cossack and Russian reeled from the sabre stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Now students, we should know what does the word sabre means. Sabres means swords with a curved blade and a single cutting edge. So here the poet says that the soldiers took out their swords and stabbed the enemy soldiers who were firing with the guns. You know that they were their enemies, which were the Russians. Okay, so these soldiers, they stabbed their enemy soldiers and they charged an entire army, and the whole world wondered at their sincerity and dedication. Right? They said wondered world over. All the world wondered. Now the cavalrymen passed through the dense smoke of shelling, crossed the border line, fought and killed the enemies. Now who were their enemies? Russians and Cossacks. You should know, children, what are Cossack? Cossack is a member of a people of Ukraine and southern Russia, noted for their horsemanship and military skills. So these soldiers, they killed the enemies, the Russians and the Cossack. Now the enemies were torn apart to death and the soldiers returned. But according to the poet, they were not 600, as many of them died. See these lines. Then they rode back, but not the 600. This means many of the soldiers had died. So this stanza has a bit of element of pain also. Right? Now students, we move on to the explanation of the next stanza, and that is stanza 5. Cannon to the right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell, all that was left of them, left of 600. Now students, this stanza 5 has beautiful poetic devices. The first poetic device I would like to discuss here is anaphora. You see, cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon behind them. Over here students, the word cannon is repeated 3 times to express the impact of cannons. So actually the poetic device anaphora is the repetition of a word at the beginning of successive clauses. So here cannon, cannon, cannon. Yeah, this has been repeated. So the poetic device over here is anaphora. And this next poetic device which we would discuss is stormed at with shot and shell. This is alliteration. You know what is alliteration? The occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning or adjacent of or closely connected words is called alliteration. Now stormed at with shot shell, SSS. See, this is the use of alliteration over here. Okay, same letter has been repeated continuously. This is the poetic device alliteration. Now we have another poetic device which I would like to discuss with you is personification. See these lines, came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. Now over here, the attribution of a personal nature or human characteristic to something non-human is known as personification. So here, jaws of death. Now, death is not a living thing, right? So we are giving human attribute to death. We say jaws of the death. Then mouth of hell. Hell is also not human characteristic. Like we have given human characteristic to hell, mouth of hell. So this poetic device is personification, right? So I discussed the poetic devices with you, students, and now I am coming to the explanation of the poem. Student, the poet over here says that there were cannons everywhere, right? So in this stanza, the poet has repeated the lines of stanza 3. However, this stanza also says that there were cannons behind the cavalrymen as well, which means that they were returning back, leaving the enemy behind. The heroes fought so well, but many of them died and their horses were killed. They rode through the teeth of death. This was the personification used, I told you now, and came back from the valley of death itself. But a few remained to make the journey back. Only few were left alive, the rest were killed, the rest sacrificed their life. They were not 600, as many of them died. So this was stanza 5, that all that was left of them left off 600. What a beautiful stanza with lovely poetic devices. Which are the devices we talked about? Anaphora, alliteration and personification, right? Now, students, we come to the final stanza of this poem, stanza 6. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made. All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made. Honor the Light Brigade. Noble 600. See, the first line itself has a question in it. What is the question in the first line? It is, when can their glory fade? Now over here, the speaker calls to the honor the 600 men and asks the rhetorical question, when can their glory fade and how their bravery can be forgotten? This means nobody can forget their bravery. They will always be remembered for marching boldly into a battle where many were sure to die. The whole world admired their courage, and their glory is indeed undying. We must respect and honor the 600 men of the Light Brigade. Okay, so over here, the last stanza, we are glorifying those soldiers who sacrificed their life at the ordered by their seniors. Students, so this was the explanation of the poem, The Charge of the Light Brigade. I would like to request you to please go through the video again and read the poem thoroughly. You will understand it deeply and you will enjoy it. Moreover, as I already told you, it is an elegy. So we are actually mourning these soldiers who lost their lives. Such a beautiful poem written by Lord Alfred Tennyson. So students, we will be giving you questions related to the poem, reference to the context, and please do them neatly in your notebooks. Okay children, thank you so much. Have a good day.